The MSME Clinic is a collaboration between the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, State Government and the Bank of Industry. The objective is to simplify administrative procedures and guidelines for issuance of business loans and approvals, registration certificates, tax certificates, permits and licenses. This is another way the federal government, in its efforts with the Bank of Industry, is creating employment and empowering entrepreneurs. We tell you a part of that story on this episode of BOI Weekly. You're welcome. I'm Ini John Mekwa. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, arriving at the venue of the official launch of the 30th MSME Clinic in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. He is received by the state governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, the Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, officials of the Bank of Industry and other dignitaries. They make their way to the palace of the Shehu of Borno, where the Vice President and his entourage receive a rousing welcome. The Shehu of Borno welcomes the Vice President and shares his thoughts on the activities of insurgents, as well as the need for the promotion of trading around border towns in order to boost the economy of the state, just as the governor of the state applauds the federal government for its role in restoring peace.
Borno State Council of Chiefs and the good people of Borno, may I welcome the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Professor Yemi Osinbajo, to my palace this afternoon for yet another official visit to our dear state. May I first of all say the entire people of Borno State appreciate and commend the administration of His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari and your support towards ensuring the restoration of lasting peace to Borno and indeed the Northeast sub-region. I am equally happy to inform your Excellencies that peace is gradually returning to Borno State as all official IDP camps in Maiduguri metropolitan were officially closed and many displaced persons have returned to their communities and have successfully settled down and actively engaged in last year's farming season, especially in northern Borno, where majority of them were displaced.
Let me first and foremost use this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to the federal government under the distinguished leadership of the President and Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, and your humble self for the enormous contributions that you have been rendering towards uplifting the standard of living of the displaced communities of Borno State.
After listening to the Shehu of Borno and the governor of the state, the Vice President highlights the essence of his visit.
Your Highness, today we're here for what is called the MSME Clinic. It's a clinic for medium and small scale businesses. What we try to do from state to state is to bring together all the small businesses, and we, the federal government, bring the regulatory authorities to meet them. So today we have brought the SON, the Standards Organization of Nigeria, we have brought NAFDAC, we have brought the Bank of Industry, the FIRS, the different regulatory agencies to meet with the small businesses so that the small businesses can lay their complaints before these regulatory authorities. Because very few businesses can travel all the way to Abuja and the other centers where the regulatory authorities are. So we go from state to state, taking the regulatory authorities to the small businesses. We also, partnering with states, create what we call a one-stop center for these regulatory agencies. So under one roof, we'd like to have NAFDAC, SON, the Bank of Industry, and any one of the other agencies, so that small businesses can go there in this state. They can go there and do whatever they need to do without necessarily having to travel all over the country.
From the palace of the Shehu of Borno, the Vice President proceeds to the hall for the launch of the 39th MSME Clinic in Borno State.
As a result, most of the MSMEs are either destroyed, dormant, or on skeletal operations.
The Managing Director of Borno Investment Company kickstarts the event by enumerating the challenges of MSMEs in the state and how the state government is addressing some of them posed by the activities of insurgents.
high-powered federal government delegation led by our respected Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who is here to launch the 30th MSME clinics in the state. This is an initiative of the federal government directly supervised by His Excellency, the Vice President, who also doubles as the head of the National Council on MSMEs. As of today, this laudable scheme has been launched in 21 states of the Federation, and Borno happens to be the 30th state to host the clinic. The main purpose of these MSME clinics is to address challenges affecting businesses on MSMEs, which amongst others include financial constraints, technological challenge, low human resource capacity, business product registration and certification, access to markets, and critical information dissemination. Power is another problem, and lack of access to government regulatory agencies. It is therefore expected that launching of this program today will provide participants with necessary support that will enable them to contribute positively to the growth of the Nigerian economy. Your Excellency, MSMEs all over the world are the backroad of economic growth in any country. Nigeria cannot be an exception. The success of this sector brings success to the economy, and the failure causes a lot of doom to the country. Therefore, governments at all levels must provide all necessary support, financial and legal, to ensure that MSMEs are up and performing well. While governments at all levels are not in a position to provide employment to our teeming graduates, they can help create a conducive environment that can be leveraged by MSMEs to grow their businesses and provide employment, thereby reducing the level of poverty within the society. It is instructive to note that China and India are two countries that were able to lift substantial portion of their population out of poverty through carefully designed policies that encourage the growth of MSMEs. Your Excellencies, it's noteworthy to observe that Borno State is the second largest state in this country in terms of landmass. And we are the only state that share border with three countries, Niger, Chad, and Cameroon, i.e. Borno is a gateway to Central Africa. However, due to activity of the insurgents, movement of goods and services have greatly been affected in very negative ways. As a result, most of the MSMEs are either destroyed, dormant, or on skeletal operations. Apart from the identified problems facing MSMEs across the country, those operating in Borno State have to contend with the insurgents. In addition to that, we have lack of power, which has been with us for the past 1 year, even though effort is being made by the federal government to sort out the power problem. Then we have lack of outlet to rural markets. With the insecurity situation, access to market is still an issue with us. The high cost of raw materials for transportation. Any transporter asked to bring goods to Maiduguri will double the cost of transportation because of fear of the insurgents.
The Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment highlights the importance of MSMEs in the country's economic growth. She reiterates the federal government's commitment to provide an enabling environment for businesses to thrive.
A pleasure to warmly welcome His Excellency, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SAN GCON, on the occasion of the MSME Clinic, holding in this ancient and highly resilient city of Maiduguri, Borno State. Permit me also to welcome His Excellency, the Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Umara Zulu, and other distinguished personalities, and our partner agencies, and sincerely appreciate their support in making this event a reality. Your Excellency, we're here today in support of small businesses by creating opportunities for them to thrive, which is imperative for increasing productivity, creating jobs, and boosting our economy. Considering the peculiar situation of Borno State, let me here commend His Excellency, the Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Umara Zulu, for his exemplary leadership and efforts in ensuring relative peace and stability in this state. He has provided a secure and enabling environment for MSMEs to operate and prosper. And I'm glad we were given we had a first-hand look at all the development strides in this state.
She speaks further on the activities of the MSME clinic and how businesses are being impacted positively nationwide.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, since inception in 2017, the MSME clinics have served as an effective platform to enable government interact with stakeholders across all sectors to ensure that MSMEs have the support they need to grow and flourish. It is also imperative to state that the clinics, periodically organized by the Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment in collaboration with the Office of His Excellency the Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, have significantly impacted the subsector. These events are intended to provide MSMEs with critical information, guidance and services for businesses that need additional assistance. It also avails businesses immediate specialist advice, offering more in-depth advisory services through a stakeholder team of experienced business support advisors that provide free business support tailored to individual business needs. Therefore, the MSME clinics provide a single point of access that can improve long-term potential for inclusive growth for businesses, as well as support particularly youth and women-owned MSMEs to yield socioeconomic dividends. As I said, the clinics target youth and women as economic actors of change, as government efforts on trade facilitation and economic empowerment are focused on supporting these small businesses and empowering our youth and women. There is therefore the need for every state and every local government to identify areas of comparative advantage, particularly in agriculture, and build competencies for food sufficiency and export. Our observations of MSME activities and exhibitions in the states inspire us, and we are hopeful that given the enabling policy direction, our MSMEs have great potential to blossom and contribute meaningfully to Nigeria's economic diversification plan. The federal government is therefore determined to reposition this subsector for efficiency, growth, and development by institutionalizing a culture of responsive and supportive services to MSMEs, thereby leading to improved ease of doing business. Furthermore, with the advent of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which has opened up more and new opportunities for MSMEs on the continent, especially in Nigeria, this administration is making all efforts to enable Nigerian MSMEs maximize the opportunities provided by the AFCFTA. It is expected that with the repositioning of our MSMEs through activities such as this clinic, the integration of this critical sector into the larger African market will be seamless. This is particularly important for states such as Borno State, which shares borders with Chad, Cameroon, and Niger Republic. I sincerely hope that the participants at this clinic will maximize the opportunities provided by the clinic activities to improve their livelihoods and develop the economy of Borno State and the nation at large. As I conclude, let me once again appreciate His Excellency, the Vice President, for his leadership, passion, and commitment towards inspiring MSMEs in Nigeria to the path of inclusive growth and sustainable development. Your Excellency, we thank you very much. I must also sincerely thank His Excellency, Professor Babagana Umara Zulu, and his entire cabinet for the warm reception and excellent arrangements for these events. So as I round up, I wish you all a very successful clinic. I thank you for listening, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
The latest addition to the MSME Clinic initiative is the launch of the 30th clinic in Borno State. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, was there to flag it off, and it was a good time to reiterate the federal government's commitment to the resources, creation, survival, and growth of MSMEs in the country. The Vice President, on his part, begins his address by commending the state governor for his role in restoring peace and creating an enabling environment for business activities to resume, just as he explains the concept of MSME clinics being promoted by the Bank of Industry with the support of the federal government.
Today, and the generous hospitality of my friend and brother, Governor Babagana Umara Zulu. Since we arrived this morning, I bring you all also the very warm felicitations and personal greetings of our President, President Muhammadu Buhari, whose love and appreciation of the people of this state is very well known to all, and he's been here at least twice in the last few months. And on behalf of the President and the federal government, we once again salute His Excellency, Governor Professor Babagana Umara Zulu and his hardworking team for their dedication and commitment to working with the military and the federal government to restore peace and normalcy to Borno State. Your bold, courageous actions have been instrumental in restoring confidence to residents and visitors and have enabled business and social activities to resume and flourish in this state. Borno State has been and has always been a famous center of learning, agriculture and commerce from time immemorial. And we must all ensure that we restore it fully to that enviable status. As is well known, MSME clinics serve as a bridge between the federal government, the state government, and small businesses in each state. It does this by bringing all relevant regulatory agencies whose work impact on the business experience of small businesses together in one place to consult and solve problems over a 1 or 2 day period.
To the admiration of the participants, the Vice President announces that the federal government will establish a shared facility in Maiduguri to be constructed and commissioned within the next 4 months.
The idea is similar to providing an opportunity for patients to consult doctors in a mobile clinic. We realize, of course, that all the needs and queries of MSMEs cannot be met in a 1 day period, which is why we also encourage state governments to establish MSMEs one-stop shops. There are office facilities provided by state governments, and these one-stop shops are actually office facilities provided by state governments who partner with our MSME clinics so that their clients or these small businesses can access the services of the regulatory agencies more readily and cheaply and on a continuous basis. Shared facilities for MSMEs are yet another innovation of the MSME clinics. A shared facility is provided by an MSME cluster, and we, the federal government that is, will pay for the cost of such a shared facility by installing specialized machinery that can be used or rented for short periods by business owners. Such facilities, shared facilities, help to relieve the financial burden of having to purchase their own equipment while giving them the access to the very latest equipment. So, for example, you have in a state, we have in Newi, we have a shared facility for shoemakers. And in Edo State, we also have another shared facility. The whole idea, and that's for carpenters and cabinet makers, people who make furniture. The whole idea of that is to ensure that small businesses can go to a place where we have very high quality and expensive equipment that individual businesses could not have been able to afford on their own. So they go to these facilities, they can use the facilities on a rental basis, and they can do whatever they want to do, whatever business they want to do, whatever aspects of their production line they want to meet, they can do there. And of course, the shared facility, as I said, is paid for by the federal government.
He also has a word for participants as he reiterates the federal government's determination to promote business development across the country.
So it's therefore a great joy for me to announce today to this state and the entire people of Borno State that the federal government, working with our private sector partners, will put up a world-class shared facility for MSME. Furthermore, Mr. President has directed that such a facility must reflect the choices of the people of the state and must be commissioned within the next 4 months. With these marching orders, the relevant federal and state agencies and the relevant private sector partners will get to work and quickly identify a viable cluster for the benefit of MSMEs in the state. In addition to its other interventions, especially in providing infrastructure and improving the business environment, the federal government is committed to supporting MSMEs because we know that the can-do spirit of Nigerians, when given the necessary impetus, is a driving force for innovation and creativity. And these are known catalysts for rapid economic progress. In response to the severe economic problems that were caused largely by the fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic, the President initiated the Economic Sustainability Plan. A key part of the plan was the MSME Survival Fund, which consisted of several different palliatives. Through the payroll support program, for example, which is one of the components of the Survival Fund, we were able to help businesses across various sectors to keep their employees by paying their salaries for 3 months. Similarly, artisans and transporters got support to help them overcome the negative impact of the lockdowns and the restrictions on movements that affected their livelihoods. The Survival Fund was steered by Ambassador Mariam Katagu, the Honorable Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, who is here with us today. And it's pleasing to note that the MSMEs in Borno State benefited fully from all tracks of the Survival Fund scheme. The data shows that so far, close to 30,000 MSMEs have benefited across the state, with a total amounting of about 1.5 billion, helping both businesses and employees and owners alike. To participants at this clinic, let me repeat as I've said to some of those that we've met already. This clinic is for you. An MSME clinic is like a hospital for small businesses. To make your complaints to the secretariat team or to the regulatory authorities. And I'm sure that all the issues will be addressed satisfactorily. And since you have them with you, you can make suggestions and observations to them. They are at your service here. Before I conclude, let me say to you, Governor Zulu, that the entire country has observed with admiration the dedication, commitment, and compassion, and the integrity that you have approached your duties as governor of this state. At a time of such immense security challenges and economic challenges, in the midst of that crisis, you have built several housing units, close to 10,000 housing units and so. First flyover in Borno State, several mega schools, and you have shown and demonstrated what can be achieved with clarity of vision and even with small resources when a leader has a love for the people that he serves. Well done and keep it up. God bless Borno State and God bless the federal.
With the resumption of commercial activities, the launch of the 30th MSME clinic in the state is no doubt a dream come true for the people of the state.
The
Bank of Industry's interest in enabling more Nigerians to become employers of labor by adding value to raw materials and locally sourced resources seems limitless, and you can be a part of that story. Join in this moving train by visiting any BOI office or reaching out to them through their social media platforms, and you'll be glad you did. That's it for this episode of the program. Until next time, I'm Ini John Mekwa.